I can't stop feeling jealous of my ex's success, and it's making me question my life. I'm 38, married to the best guy I know, Jake 41. We have a 7-year-old daughter, Emma, who's basically sunshine in human form. I teach English at a community college in our small Midwestern town. It's not glamorous, but it's the life I always dreamed of. Stable, warm, full of love. Or it was enough. At least, it used to be. Lately, there's been this ugly feeling gnawing at me from the inside out. Jealousy, regret, a cocktail of emotions I'm not proud of, and it's all because of my high school ex, Ryan. You might have even seen him. Ryan's this rising Hollywood star now, popping up all over TV, social media, even trending on TikTok sometimes. Every time I see his face, it's like someone twisting a knife in my chest. I hate how it makes me feel. I hate what it's making me question about my own life, a life I love, or at least thought I did. It all kinda boiled over a few weeks ago. Jake and I were having one of our rare date nights at home. Emma was fast asleep upstairs, her little unicorn nightlight casting soft glows of pink and blue on her walls. Downstairs, I was curled up on our old, sagging couch in my rattiest sweatpants, the ones Jake calls my no-shame pants, with a bowl of buttery popcorn balanced between us. The house smelled like the candles I always forget to blow out, and Jake was teasing me about my popcorn addiction, like he always does. It was one of those perfect, cozy nights that usually make me feel like the luckiest woman in the world. Jake flipped through streaming options and landed on that new sci-fi series everyone's obsessed with. I was mid-giggle at one of his dumb jokes when the screen flickered, and boom. There he was, Ryan. Smirking right in the opening scene like he owned the place. Looking older, sure, but still with that same cocky, irresistible charm he had when we were 17. My whole body locked up. I literally dropped a handful of popcorn in my lap. "Is that Ryan?" I blurted way too loud, my voice cracking a little. Jake, ever the calm one, just chuckled. "Yup, your boy's back at it." Your boy, like it was some old, harmless inside joke between us. He wasn't fazed in the slightest. But me, it felt like the air had been vacuumed right out of the room. It's not like it was the first time Ryan had popped up unexpectedly. The first time was years ago when Jake and I were just dating. We were watching a hockey game, and suddenly there he was, Ryan, in a cheesy car insurance ad, grinning like an idiot. I nearly fell off the couch. Jake just laughed and said, "Guess he made it out of stand-up after all, huh?" Over the years, he kept appearing, small cameos in dumb sitcoms, bit parts in forgettable movies, random ads for bottled water or luxury mattresses. Each time, it was jarring, but harmless. It almost became a running gag between Jake and me. But this was different. He wasn't just some guy trying to catch a break anymore. People were actually talking about him now, real buzz. His name was popping up on ones-to-watch lists, fan pages, fan art. He wasn't a joke anymore. He was someone. And I was just sitting there, in my Target leggings, trying to stay awake while grading 50 essays about of mice and men. That night, I couldn't sleep. I laid there beside Jake, staring at the dark ceiling, replaying Ryan's scenes over and over in my head like some kind of masochist. Around 2 a.m., against my better judgment, I did the thing I knew would only make it worse. I stalked Ryan's Instagram. There he was beaming on red carpets, laughing at movie premieres, taking selfies with A-list celebrities I only ever see in checkout aisle magazines. There were pictures of private jets, beach vacations, designer clothes, glamorous parties with twinkling fairy lights, and people clutching champagne flutes. Meanwhile, that same weekend, I had spent 2 hours unclogging Emma's glitter slime from the bathtub drain. The jealousy was so raw it tasted like metal in my mouth. The shame was even worse. Because I love my life, I love my husband, I love my daughter, I chose this life. So why did it feel like I was losing? A few days later, when I thought I had mostly shaken it off, I ran into Melissa, one of my coworkers, in the break room. She was sipping her giant iced coffee, scrolling on her phone, when she casually mentioned that Ryan had been back in our hometown recently. Visited the high school, gave a talk to the drama club, signed autographs, took selfies. Super humble and down to earth, she said with a big grin. I smiled back, nodding like it was no big deal. Inside, though, I was screaming. Ryan was here, 10 minutes from my house, and I hadn't even known. I vented to Jake that night while he made spaghetti, pacing around the kitchen in my socks, ranting about the cosmic unfairness of the universe while he stirred tomato sauce like it was no big deal. I just don't get it, I said, my voice wobbling. Why does seeing him make me feel like I'm nothing? Jake put down the spoon, wiped his hands on a dish towel, and pulled me into one of his big, warm hugs. Because you're human, he whispered into my hair, you're allowed to wonder what if. Just don't forget what is. God, I love that man. But even his comfort couldn't fully drown out that gnawing ache. Then came the first weird twist. Last week, I got an email from Ashley, one of my former students. She's at film school now, full of ambition and fire. She asked me to be a reference for a big screenwriting internship. In her email, she gushed about how a guest speaker had completely changed her life. Guess who? Ryan. Apparently, he had given some big motivational speech at her college about staying true to your roots and never giving up. I was happy for her, I really was, but reading her words, it twisted something ugly inside me. Ryan was out there planting little seeds of inspiration, changing people's lives. And I was just trying to get my students to properly format a works cited page. I typed out a glowing recommendation letter for Ashley, hands shaking slightly with resentment I couldn't even fully name. But the universe wasn't done with me yet. Another twist, another jab. Through the grapevine, I heard that when Ryan visited the high school, he ran into Mr. Wilson, our old English teacher, now the principal. And guess what? Ryan asked about me. Apparently, he wanted to know if I was doing okay, if I was happy. When I heard that, it absolutely gutted me. Because for the first time, it hit me. Maybe I wasn't just some footnote in Ryan's story after all. Maybe he remembered me too. I casually mentioned it to Jake the next morning over breakfast, stirring my oatmeal like it was no big deal. Jake just smiled, kissed my forehead, and said, "Well, that's nice he remembers you." But the seed was planted. What if Ryan regretted how we ended? What if, in another life, we could have been? Then came the biggest twist yet. 2 nights ago, my brother Tom called, totally random. We hadn't properly caught up in months. He asked if I wanted to grab coffee, said he had something important to tell me. We met at this tiny cafe downtown, the one that always smells like burnt espresso and vanilla candles. Tom looked nervous, fidgeting with his cup, not meeting my eyes. Then he just blurted it out, "Ryan asked for your number." I swear my heart actually skipped a beat. Tom explained that after Ryan's school visit, they had run into each other at a bar, caught up for a bit. Ryan was apparently super chill, no Hollywood ego. And at the end of the night, Ryan had asked if Tom thought it would be okay to reach out to me. "Just to say hi," he said. I sat there stunned, numb. Tom said he hadn't given him my number yet. He wanted to ask me first. My stomach twisted into knots. On one hand, it felt thrilling being remembered, being chosen, even after all these years. On the other hand, there was Jake, there was Emma, there was the life we had built, brick by imperfect brick. Without hesitating, I told Tom no, firmly, unequivocally. Then I went home and cried in the shower. Not because I wanted Ryan back, not because I regretted choosing Jake, but because, for a few fleeting moments, I had allowed myself to believe in that shiny, alternate life, the glamorous one, the one where I was important, seen, special. And then, standing there under the pounding hot water, I realized something huge. Ryan's life isn't real, not really. Instagram photos, red carpets, award shows, their surface. They're carefully curated illusions, a beautiful, shimmering mirage. Real is Jake's soft snoring beside me at night. Real is Emma sneaking into our bed at 3 a.m. with her cold little toes and wild hair. Real is family movie nights with microwave popcorn and bad sci-fi jokes. Real is messy. Real is boring sometimes. Real is glorious. But just when I thought I had figured it all out, the universe threw me another curveball. Yesterday, I was grocery shopping at Kroger, lost in thought between the cereal and bread aisles, when I literally crashed my cart into someone else's. I looked up to apologize and... Ryan. Fucking Ryan. Standing there in the middle of Kroger, looking as shocked as I felt. Time froze, my heart jumped into my throat. He looked different in person, older, tired around the eyes. His hair was perfect, but there was something worn about him that Instagram filters had hidden. "Holy shit," he said, his voice exactly the same as I remembered. "It's really you." I just stood there, clutching my cart like it was keeping me upright, which, honestly, it probably was. "I heard you were back in town," I finally managed, giving inspirational speeches and whatnot. He laughed, that same laugh that used to make my teenage heart flutter. "Yeah, well, gotta give back, right?" An awkward silence stretched between us, 20 years of unspoken words hanging in the air. "You look good," he said finally. "Really good." "Thanks." I was suddenly hyper-aware of my unwashed hair piled on top of my head, my no-makeup face, my old college sweatshirt with the coffee stain on the sleeve. "I actually asked your brother if I could call you," he admitted, shifting uncomfortably. "He never got back to me." "Yeah, he told me. And I told him no." The words came out harsher than I intended. Ryan's face fell slightly, but he nodded. "That's fair, I've been thinking about you, a lot actually." My heart thumped painfully in my chest. "I'm in town for a few more days," he continued. "Maybe we could grab coffee, just to catch up, for old time's sake." Before I could answer, my phone rang. It was Jake. "Hey babe," I answered, my voice unnaturally high. "What's up?" "Emma fell during soccer practice," he said, sounding worried. "Nothing serious, but she's pretty upset. Twisted ankle, we're at urgent care now." "I'll be right there," I said immediately, all thoughts of Ryan evaporating instantly. I hung up and looked at Ryan apologetically. "My daughter, I have to go." He nodded, understanding in his eyes. "Of course, hey, here's my number." He scribbled it on a receipt and handed it to me. "If you change your mind about coffee." I took it automatically, shoved it in my pocket, and wheeled my abandoned cart to the side of the aisle. "It was good seeing you, Ryan," I said honestly. "You too," he replied softly. "You have a beautiful life, don't you?" The question caught me off guard. "I do," I answered, surprised by how certain I suddenly felt. "I really do." His smile turned a little sad. "I always knew you would." Then he was gone, disappearing around the corner into the produce section. I rushed to urgent care, where I found Emma sitting on an exam table with Jake holding an ice pack to her ankle. Her face lit up when she saw me, and she immediately launched into a dramatic retelling of her soccer injury, complete with sound effects. Jake caught my eye above her head and mouthed, "You okay?" And that's when the final plot twist hit me. Ryan might have Hollywood, but I have this. Later that night, after Emma was tucked in bed with her special ice pack, the one with cartoon penguins that we save for real emergencies, Jake and I settled on the couch with glasses of cheap red wine. "Something weird happened today," I said, and told him about running into Ryan. Jake listened intently, no judgment in his eyes. When I finished, he just nodded thoughtfully. "And how do you feel about it?" he asked. I pulled out the crumpled receipt with Ryan's number, looked at it for a long moment, then ripped it into tiny pieces. "I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be," I said. And for the first time in weeks, I knew it was true. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter somehow. The sun streamed through our bedroom window, highlighting the dusty surfaces I'd been too distracted to clean lately. Jake's side of the bed was already empty. He always got up early on Saturdays to make Emma's favorite chocolate chip pancakes. Downstairs, the scene that greeted me was pure chaos. Flour dusted every surface of our tiny kitchen. Emma, with her ankle propped up on a chair, was directing her dad's pancake operations with the authority of a five-star general. Her face lit up when she saw me, pancake batter somehow smeared across her forehead. Later that day, while Emma napped, I found myself scrolling through my own Instagram. Years of ordinary moments captured. Emma's first wobbly steps, Jake asleep with our daughter sprawled across his chest, family camping trips with terrible s'mores and magnificent sunsets, my students surprising me with cupcakes after I helped them organize a poetry slam. On impulse, I opened my laptop and pulled up the community college's website. There it was, an application for a creative writing program director position I'd been eyeing, but hadn't felt confident enough to pursue. My finger hovered over the Apply Now button. Ryan's words echoed in my mind, "You have a beautiful life, don't you?" I did, but maybe there was still room for more dreams within this beautiful life I'd built. The jealousy that had consumed me for weeks transformed into something else, motivation. Not to chase fame or Hollywood glamour, but to recognize the passion I still carried for writing, for teaching, for creating something meaningful in my own small corner of the world. That evening, during our regular Sunday dinner with my parents, my mom pulled me aside while we were washing dishes. "You seem different," she observed, handing me a wet plate to dry, "more at peace." I smiled, glancing through the kitchen doorway at Jake, who was helping Emma show my dad her latest art project. "I had a bit of a crisis," I admitted, "but I think I'm through it now." "Those moments happen to all of us," she said wisely. "The trick is recognizing when you're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel." I looked at her surprised. "That's actually really profound, Mom." She shrugged, a twinkle in her eye. "I read it on a coffee mug." We both burst out laughing, and just like that, the last traces of my Hollywood-induced existential crisis melted away. So Reddit, I guess this isn't really asking for advice anymore. Maybe I just needed to write it all out. But if you've ever felt like you're not enough, like you're somehow losing at life because you chose the quiet path over the flashy one, you're not alone. And maybe, just maybe, you've already won. Edit, holy crap, I didn't expect this to blow up overnight. Thanks for all the kind comments and awards. To answer the most common questions. No, I'm definitely not contacting Ryan again. That chapter is closed. Yes, I told Jake everything, including about the jealousy I've been feeling. He was incredibly understanding, because of course he was. And for those suggesting therapy, already booked my first appointment. Sometimes it takes a cosmic kick in the pants to realize you need to talk to someone professional about these feelings, you know? Thanks again, everyone.